Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Happy Friday to everybody. You made it to the weekend, so we're going to have plenty of things to discuss today, dealing with recapping the week, but also going to have some news coming out as the show goes on. The SEC predicted order of finish for Razorback Football, as well as preseason accolades. We'll get into that, as well as best and worst of the week, presented by our friends at Looper Auction and Realty. We'll have some summer topics presented by our friends at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. Get into the chat presented by Basis Health. And, of course, get into all the topics you want to talk about today on a Freedom Friday. But, fellas, how we feeling on this Friday as we head into a beautiful weekend here?
Pretty good. I would say. I thought that we just got the order of finish stuff, but it was second team all SEC for Carmona. I just saw that tweet there.
And third team for Cam Ball. So,
okay, cool. I didn't look at all of them. But no, I'm doing good. I'm all right. If I dip off for a second today, it's not my internet. I'm home alone with a sick dog, and I'm also paying attention to Peach Jam. So, little split. But when you guys are talking to me, I'm dialed in, baby. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, today it's a Friday in the middle of July. It's really hard to be locked in, but I am locked in today. Actually, 30 minutes ago, I was like, you know what? I've been lollygagging too long. I have to lock in for this show, and so I concur with that sentiment. I'm locked in today too, and it's gonna be a great day. It's gonna launch us into the weekend flawlessly.
That's right. And I was trying to think. I'm back in Arkansas. I'm here in Little Rock, the old stomping grounds of Central Arkansas, and back on Central Time. Can you call it jet lag if you didn't actually take a jet? Like, is that a thing, or do you have to just say? You're just in a problem. It's just a problem. I don't know, but
I think it's okay to just say you're exhausted after driving around the country, all week.
Good. Okay, that's fair because I am. But it's all good though. It's all good. Atlanta was very kind to me, and we'll have some things to discuss and recapping that as the show goes on, especially some of the things more that Sam Pittman said, because there was a lot of stuff going on yesterday here at Inside Arkansas Live. So we appreciate everybody tapping in. But let's just mention what is being announced and will be announced as the show goes on. You got Cam Ball getting some honors for the Razorback football team as he has been named third team all SEC defensive lineman. And Fernando Carmona has been named second team all SEC offensive lineman at this point in time. So guys, just you mentioned Curtis, you saw it, but any reaction? Is it about right? Are you surprised by maybe where they're ranked at? Or should we even have a third team and just keep it at two teams and discuss that as well?
Yeah, the third team is always a little bit weird to me. I guess if you want to do an honorable mention thing, it seems like more of a postseason deal. I don't know. I'm a too deep kind of guy. So, well, that sounded crazy if you really think about it. Anyway, no, it's probably about right. I mean, Carmona, I thought that he would get some kind of recognition there going in the preseason. He got it at the end of last year. Cam Ball, that's cool. I don't know if I necessarily expected that to be the case, but I'm happy for him. I think it's deserved. Maybe a little bit surprised that Swery didn't find his way onto one of those lists, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't know who all the other linebackers are in the SEC, so it's a little bit hard to evaluate some of that. But no, I think that's about right. I don't know if they do a preseason all punt return team or whatever, and maybe you could have got Shanks on there, but other than that, nah.
Yeah, Shanks is the one that I was kind of like, I mean, I didn't look at the team either. And also, I have not been breaking down punt return SEC footage. So maybe there are three guys really good at it. But I was like, yeah, Cam Shanks ain't on the list. And Story, I thought if you're going to do the third team, which we all agree, three teams is a little bit too much. That's like 50 players then. But if you're going to do three teams, I thought Xavier Story would definitely be on there. He was 13.
Devin Bale.
Yeah.
Devin Bale?
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just saw it. Third team, Devin Bell. They just put it out.
Okay.
So
they were just slow on the tweet.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay. Well, all right. Listen, hey, if we just now got Devin Bale, that means we might get 5 or 6 more. Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe doing maybe starting offense, defense, then special teams. I don't know how exactly.
They're revealing it right now, you think?
Yeah. It's just a slow leak, which I bet you. Yeah,
this could be an awesome wait for Cam Shanks to see.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I mean, those assuming that those are the three, we'll wait until.
Breaking news! I have the full team. I have the
Yeah.
full poll.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up. So yeah, it's they just released it. I don't know why everybody's coming like different directions, but yeah. Yeah, give us the reaction on what you're reacting to there, Curtis.
Okay. Well, let me see if there's any more Razorbacks that are on this list. Looking at the first team, I'm not seeing anybody. Second team, yeah, Carmona. Defensively, nope. Cam Ball's on there, yeah. Specialist. Nope, just Devin Bell. Okay, so I think that was it. I skimmed pretty quick though, but my reaction honestly was Arkansas being projected 14th out of 16 teams in the SEC, with 764 votes, and so they're ahead of Kentucky, which we kind of thought might be the case, and they're ahead of Mississippi State, who really fell off a cliff there. Like they barely got any votes at all. But just me seeing Arkansas nearly 200 votes behind Vanderbilt. And listen, no shade whatsoever to Diego Pavia and the boys, but when you've reached the point to where you're clearly behind Vanderbilt in the SEC pecking order going into a season, that's a tough scene in my opinion.
That is a tough scene. How about Missouri being right up there above Vanderbilt? Missouri is dangerously close to Arkansas's territory. Auburn right above them. By the way, I'm looking at SEC champion. So of course, one person picked Auburn to win the SEC. Two picked Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt and Florida each with 2 picks to win the SEC.
Wow.
Or they say points. You know how it is, like the point system. I don't know how that all breaks down, but multiple people going with Vandy. I feel like Vandy gets this every year. They get like one guy that just commits to it.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it now, and as people can see on the screen too, just what the breakdown is. You know, the thing is with the random teams getting votes, that's a tales all the time. It's just what people do. So you just got to go with as far as champions go. But honestly, guys, like I felt Arkansas was going to be 13th, and they're 14th. And as you mentioned, Curtis, they're not really that close to being 13th. I mean, they're not even in the vicinity. It wasn't like a photo finish by a hair. They are very much solidly in the 14th spot. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, was that not where Arkansas was picked to finish last year? Or it was either 13th or 14th. I thought it was 14th because I thought they were above Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, or maybe Mississippi State, South Carolina. I mean, that's what it was. But either Vanderbilt.
Way. Maybe they were 13.
Maybe they were 13, yeah.
Wow. So,
but, yeah, good grief, man. That's tough.
So, to put it all into perspective, folks, the SEC, by and large, going into this season, some, not all, but some feel as a league is not as good as it was a year ago. And due to that fact, your team, your Razorbacks, are picked to finish lower than what they were a year ago, even in a league that's not as good. So, I mean, it's not surprising to me. I won't say it's surprising for me to see Arkansas there. To be honest, guys, again, I ranked them at 13th when I was putting in my poll. But, you know, it's just really telling that where, you know, we hear about the media and we talk about at media days, man, there's not many people talking about Arkansas. Maybe they're going to be someone's dark horse. This is always really the good telltale sign of exactly how people feel about where you stand. And that's what makes it so interesting. That's why I was glad they kept doing the poll in like the stupid Big 12 or whatever, where they took it out. But this is what everyone thinks about you. Does it mean that's where you're going to finish? No, because I think Arkansas finished 9th, 10th last season after being picked so low. But it is really telling of what the rest of the league and what everybody kind of thinks about you outside the state of Arkansas.
I'm glad you said what you said, John, about not being surprised, because like I don't want to come across as overreacting here, because it's about what I expected. I kind of thought, and I meant to bring it up yesterday before we got off air. I was like, well, maybe they still get ahead of Vanderbilt there. So like whatever, 13th, 14th, we knew that they were going to be projected at the bottom of the pecking order. The gap between Arkansas and Vanderbilt in the votes is what surprises me the most. And this is interesting because, you know, when we go to SEC basketball media days, they release the poll as the day is getting started. And then so all the coaches get to react to it. And I'll never forget Lamont Paris that year when he walked in there and he was like, hey, You guys have us picked last or whatever. That's fine. You got every single team wrong last year. Nobody finished where you projected them at the end of the year. So expectations are one thing. It's based on paper. It's based on the roster that you put together and how it's evaluated relative to the peers, but you still got to go out there and play the games. And so that's got to be the mantra for Arkansas. And we talked about it. Sometimes this program is at its best when they're doing the chip on the shoulder, us against the world. Nobody believes in us thing. Well, nobody believes in you. So you've got the ammo, the bulletin board material that you need to get it going, I guess.
I'm just sitting here staring at this and like kind of just processing it. And the one thing I'm noticing is that there's a pretty noticeable like drop off between Oklahoma and Auburn. I guess that's like 10 and 11 or 11 and 12 or 9 and 10 or somewhere in that range. But like Oklahoma at 13 points and Auburn at 12.72. And then it's like Missouri 11.70. It's like there's a pretty big like drop off there that kind of definitively marks the bottom of the conference. And it's interesting to see Auburn, who's again coming off a bad year, but a team that like has some buzz, like someone picked them to win the league, them to be kind of in that bottom range. But I'm also just looking at Arkansas's schedule and sort of how it shakes out. So in that bottom tier, of course, you have Mississippi State below you, but like Auburn, Missouri, also right there with you in that little bottom echelon. You feel like if Arkansas is going to accomplish what they need to accomplish, they at least need to beat at least 2 of those teams that are in that tier with them, but really probably all 3. Because then, of course, you've got Texas, who's picked to win the whole league at 1. Of course, LSU at 4. Ole Miss, A&M, Tennessee, all on your schedule, all definitively in that top echelon. It's like, how many of those teams are you going to beat? Maybe 1, maybe 2. But just kind of looking at this and seeing what's in front of the Razorbacks of like what they're going to have to do to accomplish what they want to accomplish, it does seem like kind of daunting. I mean, I know that, again, John, you say this is like a year where the SEC feels like it's kind of down. I felt like last year the SEC felt a little bit down, but it's still, you look at it on paper, it's like, damn, you're going to have to beat so many teams that are expected to be better than you. And really, Auburn and Missouri are the only ones really kind of close there.
Yeah, because I was looking at the list and comparing to the schedule, because that was my whole theme. Anytime I talk to people at media days of like, oh, what will Arkansas do? I was like, man, there's a chance that they could theoretically be a better team this year, but because of the schedule, maybe have less wins because they went 6-6 last year. But no, again, media could get it wrong. They do get it wrong. But I was a little surprised too, guys, to see that half of Arkansas's SEC schedule is in the bottom half and the other half is in the top half. Now, granted, Texas is going to be your hardest opponent because they were picked to finish first and win the SEC. But LSU at 4th, Ole Miss at 7, and A&M at 8. So it's not like you just got the top, 4 of the top 5 teams that are predicted there. So who knows? Maybe I'm starting to change my mind. Arkansas is going to win 6 games, 7 games now because the SEC felt like the predicted order finish was going to be different. But I was a little fascinated to see how that goes, and just the little things that make a difference, like Tennessee being at 9. How different would that have been if Nico was still the quarterback and they never had those off the field things? They could have been people that were choosing them to be at the top. But seeing South Carolina at 5, it was like, man, they really believe in Lenore Sellers. It just really puts things into perspective. Again, that's why I like it, of what everybody outside the state of Arkansas and outside these teams actually feel about what it's all going to be.
You know how they teach math a little bit differently than we learned it in school now?
Yeah, and it sucks.
John, your formula there to get to Arkansas winning more games, that's what it just did to me. I'm trying to compute it in my head. I'm like, wait a second. Wait, is he on to something? Why are the numbers not adding up? I gotta cook the books here a little bit and figure it out. But yeah, it is, man. It's really interesting to see that. I like the top, I guess other surprises, like the top 4, I think everybody kind of expected that was going to be the top 4 in some order: Texas, Georgia, Bama, LSU. I am surprised to see South Carolina that high. They must love them some Shane Beamer, man. And Sellers is good, but I know they're replacing a lot. There's a lot of Lagway love, it appears. I kind of thought that Ole Miss and Texas A&M might be above those two personally. Texas A&M, I know there's some questions about Marcel Reed at quarterback, but man, they got a lot coming back on that offensive line. All those running backs, remember all the injuries they had last year there? All those running backs are back. So it just seems like they're going to be able to run it down people's throats. The defense supposedly is going to be a lot better over there. So maybe I would have flip-flopped that a little bit. But yeah, Tennessee, you're right, man. It's kind of a wild card with Nico. They probably would have been back in the playoff discussion. It's not that he was a world beater, but it is what it is. and now they look a lot more vulnerable. It's just it's going to be kind of a fascinating year. I do think it's wide open. I think there's room there for Arkansas to finish higher than they're projected. But to your point about, half the schedule being in the bottom half of the projected standings there, it just feels like Mississippi State, Missouri, Auburn, those are games you got to win, man. And they're all at home. So, that's the pathway to getting there.
That middle tier there with Tennessee, A&M, and who's the other one?
Talking about Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, yeah, about to say those three teams, all of which are on your schedule, like you need one of them to just be worse than they're supposed to be. And I can see the case for all of them. You mentioned there's like questions about Marcel Reed, although A&M I've been very high on. I think they're going to be good. I think Elko, when he has a game manager quarterback like Marcel Reed, who is athletic and doesn't do stupid stuff, that's exactly that kind of quarterback with what A&M is going to try to do, the run game, the defense. Like I think Marcel Reed is actually like the perfect quarterback for that situation there. I think I'm higher on them than I am the other two teams in this tier with Tennessee, where I really have questions about their quarterback situation. And Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's always going to put up production with whoever he has playing quarterback for him. But I think I could see the case for Ole Miss taking a big step back. But in the context of the Razorbacks, it's like you really need at least two of those teams to be worse than they're supposed to be. And you also need to be better than the teams that are near you, like an Auburn or a Missouri, and of course, Mississippi State, who's below you. And so just how many of those variables are going to go your way? Because again, we do this every year where we look at some of these teams and then you look and you in hindsight after the season, you're like, oh yeah, of course, on the road at Auburn was an easy game. They had that idiot playing quarterback. It's like we didn't realize going into the year that Auburn game was going to be an easy one. Arkansas needs to get some breaks like that in this schedule. And I think there's a case to be made for some of that, for some of these teams to be worse than they are. But the other end of that equation is Arkansas also has to ascend, and that's where you kind of lose me a little bit. But I do think there's some beatable teams in the SEC. But I want my statements now to be that A&M is going to end up being a top 4 or 5 team in the conference.
I feel you.
I'm just, the more I think about it and the more I look at A&M and how many, I don't know, like, because what they go 8-4 last year?
Of course.
How would they be worse?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, maybe they are, but I just feel like year 2 Elko, year 2 with the quarterback, who I thought was pretty solid for them last year. Like, I think they're going to be pretty good.
No, it's funny you bring that up, Andrew, because I literally said that exact same thing. I forgot which show I was on, but they just asked me, "Hey, who'd be like a dark horse, team or a team that you feel like could maybe be good or whatever on Arkansas' schedule?" I was like, I don't know, something about A&M. Or I'm not saying they'll be winning the SEC, but just I don't feel like they're bad, and I don't feel like they're going to get worse, like you said. And I know they always are going to have some talent and some players. So, and Elko, after 1 year, did fine. So who knows? Maybe they're a team that's and also they were not talked about at all. That's what kind of sucks. I know it's always like day 4 stuff. Day 4 teams were not talked about all week.
Mhm.
And that's Kentucky, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and who was the other team?
Missouri.
Missouri,
right?
Yeah. And it sucks because as much as I hate to admit it, my good friend Eli Drinkwitz might have won SEC Media Days. The guy was great. Guy was great, and I'm thankful for that because I think we talked last week. This felt like it's boring nowadays. But I do want to bring up a few other things too. I want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're brought to you by our friends over at BetSaracen, the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. They got futures. So if you think Arkansas is going to be finishing higher than 14th in the SEC, well, go ahead and get on those bets and make some future bets and get it done because they have all of those going on with college football. They got Major League Baseball, they got parlays and all that good stuff. And they even have some games for college football coming up that you can get in on as well. So download the app on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can check them out online at BetSaracen.com. So, guys, I wanted to bring this up too as we continue to discuss, in case you're just joining us, the SEC officially announced the predicted order of finish as well as all SEC teams at SEC Media Days this past week. Am I crazy? You guys can talk me off this ledge. Am I crazy to think that Arkansas, if they were going to have at the end of the season a first-team All-SEC player, it's not any of those 3 players that were listed in the preseason 3 teams? And I'm not going to, don't give me Cam Shanks. I mean, I'm not, that would be great, but that's not even a player I'm referring to. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No, I don't think you're crazy for thinking that. The reason why is because there's really, like there's a lot of high level NFL draft pick offensive and defensive linemen in the SEC. And that's where Arkansas had their guys there. I mean, maybe Devin Bell gets first team punter or something, but so yeah, I think you might be onto something. Like it could come from somewhere else. We talked so much about, Sorey yesterday, obviously, because you got to interview him and he was there for SEC Media Day, and just how he might be primed, just given the way the defense looks on paper to have, 100 and some odd tackles. And if he's racking up some TFLs and stuff, he could get that by numbers alone, maybe, like, so he could be a guy that could do that. But yeah, I don't think you're crazy in your assessment there. I really don't.
So I've got a few candidates in mind. I think you can take your pick of any of the transfer safeties. There's like 9 of them.
Yeah.
Any one of those guys, you know what I mean? And obviously, like, being first team all SEC requires a lot, but it's like, that's one where it's like, if one of those guys became one of our top, secondary guys, maybe there's something there. Corey Robinson, who is not listed, and like, I'm not saying he's, going to be that good. I'm not making that prediction, but like, I think if Arkansas had an lineman that was not Carmona, that was going to be all SEC, I could see Corey Robinson. Yeah, he just kind of checks the boxes of like what a guy that would accomplish something like that looks like. I don't know if he's necessarily going to do it, but I definitely think I could see that argument. Another guy that I feel like we just have to mention is Mr. Taylon Green. I don't think he's going to do it, but like, I think his path is probably easier because you can just put up numbers as a quarterback on a 6-6, 7-5 team and maybe get a nod. And I think it could be one of those things where it's like Taylon leads the league in some stat, and we're like, hell yeah, that's our guy. You know what I mean? Where it's like, maybe he's not the best quarterback, but maybe he gets that nod. He becomes the guy that all the writers, the national writers, are like, I'm an innovator. This is who I have as the first team all SEC quarterback, not Arch Manning. I've got Taylon Green. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's not a ton of candidates. Rohan Jones, give me a deep threat according to Sam Pittman. Going to be catching seam routes up down the middle. I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I don't think Arkansas is going to have a first team all SEC guy that's not one of those guys, but those are the candidates I could come to my head.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh,
no,
you guys.
That was it.
Okay, sorry. I just must have heard I don't know what I'm hearing. I'm tripping balls.
I heard that too. I thought it was one of you guys.
Okay, well, it's all good. I'll throw this one out there. I'm not saying this guy will be first team, but guys, I had an epiphany, and maybe it was just because of lack of sleep or something. I don't even remember if I thought about this when I was asleep or if I was awake or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Justice Boone, I think, is going to be an all SEC third teamer.
Lost your damn mind.
What?
There was something that someone said to me at media days that was part of the Florida media that got me thinking. And this is what I'm basing it on. This is why I'm stupid and I don't know ball, but I do predict things off of random feelings. I was talking to him and I asked him about Justice Boone, and he was telling me about the raw athleticism that he has. He's really athletic, freakishly athletic, strong, but he's kind of raw, kind of all over the place, all these things. And the reason I said that is because he told me that, which was the exact same thing that the LSU people told me about Landon Jackson. And that's the only thing I'm basing it on, is that one thing. And so I'm just trying to figure out a name and find a name. And that was the one that had just immediately popped into my head. But I feel good about the guys like Carmona and all that. The Corey Robinson angle, though, Ellis, I was going to bring up too, because I think there's a chance there. I really do. But first teamers, man.
Corey Robinson is going to become, like we called Anthony Black a triple double threat. We're going to call Corey Robinson a dark horse first team all SEC candidate.
Yep.
Like, we're just going to speak into existence.
Who only played half the snap for Georgia Tech last year?
If we keep saying it, I guarantee you there's some like national writer that like listens to stuff like this that we could maybe bait into it. If we keep saying it later in the year, we're like, Corey Robinson, I mean, he's a fringe all SEC guy. Someone, when they're filling out their ballot, will be like, oh yeah, that Corey Robinson kid, yeah, he looks the part. Like, you can kind of, if you just look at him through the right context, you can talk yourself into it. And I think we can bait someone into it.
Yep.
What I will say about Justice Boone is he did have a trajectory. Like when he was at Florida his freshman year or whatever, and I think he redshirted, but he played a little bit. Like he didn't play in 4 games, whatever the rule is. But his redshirt freshman year, like he was very much in the rotation for him. He had a couple starts. put up some numbers. Like he was a guy, maybe, like how we feel about Quincy Rhodes. Like he was there as a freshman, was like, oh, they might have something there. And then he played quite a bit more the next year. And you're thinking, all right, maybe he's taking the next step. Justice Boone was kind of on that path, and then he got hurt. And he missed the entire 2023 season. And maybe it's like a Trevin Brazil deal where his first year back from injury, because like he played, but he didn't do a whole bunch, and maybe he was just kind of shaking it off. And now he's had a fully healthy offseason or whatever. So I might try to join you a little bit on that hype train, because somebody else has to start alongside Quincy Rhodes. Like somebody's got to play. He's as good of an option as anybody.
That is true. There was also a coaching change, which is always like when you have a guy whose career momentum just halts out of nowhere, and there's a coaching change that happens right around that same time. I guess his year that he was hurt would have been Billy Napier's first year, right?
2023. Is he going into year 3, Napier?
I think he is.
So that would be right then.
So it's like maybe his first year he's hurt while the new coach is establishing his culture and getting his new guys. And the new coach doesn't really like him that much because he's like, this isn't my guy and he's banged up. I don't care about him. You know what I mean? Like, there's something there. Josh Braun, this literally happened with Josh Braun, I'm pretty sure, where it was like he started as a redshirt freshman or whatever, and then just didn't vibe with the coaching staff, loses his starting job, and then he wound up being an SEC starter. And so, Justice Boone really is just the D-line version of Josh Braun. Many are saying.
Well, and I'll also throw in this too, and I mean this. We've talked about it, but I've been impressed by the job Deke Adams has done at Arkansas as the D-line coach. I really have been. And he's been pretty consistent, where, not to say that the D-line has been the best ever all the time, but they're not like they were in 2021, where it's like, man, we got to have just 3 guys out there, and thank goodness for John Ridgeway. I mean, they've always been really solid. And with Landon Jackson no longer being on the team, which feels like the first time that you haven't had him on the team in a long time, like you said, Kurt, somebody's got to play alongside Quincy Rhodes. Somebody's got to step up. So maybe this is the guy. Maybe he just needed to get into the right situation. And I like Deke Adams, and I like the way that he's approaching it. So maybe that's the case that happens. I'm convinced. That's all I needed. Justice Boone.
I'm in.
Yep. All
I'm
SEC.
in. Let's do this.
SEC. So let me ask you guys this, and we're all assuming that these guys stay healthy. Mm-hmm. Of the 3 players that Arkansas does have in the all SEC ranks, which one of those is the most likely to not be in it at the end of the year?
Cam Ball. D-line, dude, is loaded in the SEC. There's like a lot of really good ones.
He might be my favorite person in the world, but yeah. And that's just not a knock on him. He could have a great season and not make an all SEC team with the way that defensive lines are in this conference. So
you gotta have the numbers too. You basically have to have like a 3-sack game, because like there's just gonna be some random nose tackle with 9 sacks, and you're just like, all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm with you on that. It's like about the position groups, because Devin Bale, I think, is honestly going to be there, because I think Arkansas is going to punt a lot. So, he'll get his run. And then the Cam Shanks thing, man, I would love for him to break off stuff, but I just feel like we're going to look back on the 12-game season and say, man, Cam Shanks got like 4 times he actually got to return a punt. Something so low because of the way, because everyone knows how good he is, and already punts and punt returns are going by the wayside.
Clearly they don't, John. He was not in the top 3 teams. Maybe you think teams will attack him more now that he was not an all SEC guy.
That's true. They were waiting. They were waiting to their game plan to see what the media said first and where they picked him.
Andrew, I think you might be onto something too. You were talking about, like a random safety or somebody in that secondary or whatever. Because the truth is, you are 1 2-pick game against Alabama A&M away from being in that conversation all year.
Yeah.
We've seen it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
No slander, but we've seen it before.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
So
yeah. Well, I'm going to throw it out there too. I know I still am a big believer in Taylon Green. I think he's going to be a 3rd-team all SEC player at minimum this year. And that's also Bobby Petrino. That's the Kool-Aid that I am sipping, is the Petrino and Taylon Green deal.
Do y'all have a quarterback? Because there's a lot of, I wouldn't say like elite quarterback. Like there's not, I would say there's like a banner year for SEC quarterbacks, but there's a lot of like intriguing like talents that are now in a new location, or someone like Lagway who hasn't proved it yet. Do y'all have a quarterback in the SEC that you're like actually high on, that you're like, you know what, I think this might be the guy?
I mean,
are you Are we talking of like the new quarterbacks in the league, or just in general?
In general, like do you feel like or just someone that you feel like is better than they're projected? Like, are you super high on Nuss? Are you super high on any of those guys? Like, because I don't think there's a consensus. This is the best quarterback in the league.
I mean, I do think Lenore Sellers is really good. I don't know if he's. I mean, they might think he's a Heisman guy. I don't know about all that. I will say I think the kid at Ole Miss, Simmons, is going to be good. I just remember being very, very impressed with him sitting at a bar watching him shred Georgia with John Neighbors.
Yeah.
After what's his nuts got hurt for a while there, he looked good. And with the track record there with Lane Kiffin that you mentioned earlier, Andrew, I could see him being a good one.
That was one of the worst bets I've ever made. I went all in on Georgia. I was like, oh, this is easy money. And then just, that day got started off rough and it ended rough. But yeah, no, I mean, it's like, it's about systems to me, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I hate being that way, but like Nussmeier, I think you said maybe on this show that I felt like maybe he's a little overrated. Maybe he's not going to be as good. But at the same time, that's a system that has produced Jaden Daniels. They have Heisman Trophy pedigrees there with the coaching staff and everything. Same thing with the Ole Miss situation. Same thing with Tennessee situation. Like, I'm not saying that those guys for sure are great, but because of the systems they're in, they'll probably put up numbers and put up stats. And, who could, it's because this year, too, the talk at the media days was, who's going to be this year's South Carolina? The team that, everybody says is going to be bad. It comes good. It was the same thing with the quarterbacks. Who's this year's Lenore Sellers, who's nobody's ever heard of, and he's going to come up big. It's like there's always
Arkansas fits both criteria, right?
Totally.
You mentioned system and everything, and I will say, again, he gets snoozed on, and I've seen him get crapped on a lot. I do think the kid at Oklahoma, Mateer, who's over there with his former coach now, he might put up some numbies, but Jackson Arnold probably would have put up numbers last year if he had any of his top 7 receivers. You know what I mean? So they kind of need to stay healthy from that standpoint. That broke that man's career. That's why I don't think he's going to be that good at Auburn, because he's just like shattered confidence wise. But I could see that dude Mateer being good.
Did you hear what Venables said about Jackson Arnold the other day? He was like, this kid, he's going to be playing football a long time. I'm just telling you right now, Jackson Arnold, he's going to be playing football long. They're like, well, then how come y'all were really bad with him? Like, what happened? I think Jackson Arnold's a fascinating one, too, because, like, dude, if he ended up being a top 5 quarterback in the league, I would not be surprised at all. That would mean that Auburn's season went pretty well. I like DJ Lagway a lot. Like, I like him, but I also am fully prepared to just blame Billy Napier when it doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
Like, I think Lagway might be the guy to get Billy Napier fired. If he doesn't, if Lagway doesn't turn into a really good quarterback and like, big time player in college football, that'll probably cost Billy Napier his job. I feel like just with the hype that he's already had, he's thrown like 13 passes in college football, and they're already like, he's like unanimously a top 5 quarterback.
The only reason Billy Napier is still there is because he recruited, had, and played DJ Lagway, and it's like the future. I can't have him transferring out. So you're absolutely right. If he sucks or he doesn't pop or whatever, they're looking for a reason, man.
Yeah. Lagway, by the way, visited the University of Arkansas. People forget.
Yeah, I love those quarterbacks that visit but don't come here. It's great.
Damn it. Did he really?
I'm pretty sure it was like when he was like a freshman and he was like, I don't know if they knew quite how good he was, but like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he came to Arkansas.
Man, that's brutal. I didn't want to hear that, but I tell you what, we do want to hear from you, because we're going to get into some of the chats and your reactions to Arkansas and predicted order of finish, as well as the preseason All SEC team. And the vibe check is presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they're changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your own home. I mean, the mobile, that means you don't have to leave your home. They'll come to you. A doctor will come to you for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and more. It's Basis Health. They are here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today, or you can scan that QR code right there on your screen. All right, so getting into some of the chats, too, because there will be some other things as far as talking season. That's Friday. That was my thing, guys, real quick. The show, I was so excited, where I'm not saying I didn't show prep. I put in some things. But I was like, I know when the predicted order of finish comes out, and it's always around noon. So I'm like, I'm just going to save all of that, because everything else is going to throw by the wayside. So it's good to see what everybody feels. But getting in some of your chats real quick, Heartbroken Hog says, what does that equate to us as far as a record projection? 4-8 or 3-9? I'd say probably 4-8, 5-7 at best. If you're picked to finish 14th,
4-8 because you have 3 non-conference wins, not counting Notre Dame, and then you have 1 SEC win in Mississippi State. I think that would equate. If you just based it on that, it's 4-8.
Yeah.
Assuming.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'll tell you what. How about we just do this? Looking at it last year, and as far as the team in the SEC that finished 14th, it was the Auburn Tigers, and they finished at 5-7. So there you go. Kentucky was 4-8 last year at 15th, in the Mississippi State. Poor Mississippi State, 2-10. That was rough. So yeah, about there. You're not going to have a winning record in finishing 14th in the SEC.
What if Mississippi State's not bad? Have we ever considered that?
No, but
No.
They're here's what we know: they're not going to be as bad as they were last year. I don't think
they're not. And by the way, I think Levy's a good coach, and he may just be a good play caller, but like, I actually think they might actually be competent, bro.
Let's say we said this. At least I said the same thing about Chad Morris after year one. I'm like, hey, they're not going to be any worse than what they were a year ago. And then
that is fair.
The rest of it is like 2-10. But
although that situation really was a disaster. I mean,
it was
the fallen coach and then the wasted a year doing nothing. Yeah, that's a tough situation.
Yeah.
Even I remember that game last year. Arkansas wound up kind of beating the hell out of them on the scoreboard, but it was. Remember Mississippi State? They fumbled on the goal line like 4 times or something, or either a goal line stand or they coughed it up right there.
Yep.
Their offense was good with that kid.
Yeah.
Their defense was historically bad, though. Like literally, I think it was like literally the worst defense in SEC history.
Yeah, they're worse than UAPB on defense.
Yeah, I think Arkansas is Arkansas or somebody was that they were second to last in scoring defense at like 25 points a game given up, and Mississippi State was 35. Like there was that much of a gap between the second worst and the worst, like 10 points. So let's see. Also, Evan says, will be interesting to see how A&M plays against Notre Dame, which is a fascinating thing I keep forgetting about. Like that, yeah, A&M or Notre Dame plays 2 SEC schools this year. A&M has to go to Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame comes to Arkansas. But yeah, that will be a kind of a good indicator. Kind of same thing with Arkansas when they play, say, Ole Miss or anybody like that early, kind of sees where you stack up. But I mean, if you're Arkansas, is that game before? I think it's before they play Arkansas.
It's week 1, I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
It was last year. I don't know if it is again this year. I think it is.
It is early. So are you guys going to be one of those things like, man, you want Notre Dame to beat A&M so that way Arkansas has a better chance to like? Are you even believing that crap?
I hope the game is a repeat of last year where it's like 12-9 and both teams look like they suck. Now they both ended up being pretty good, but like it was a weird game last year. It is going to be interesting. By the way, with A&M, they almost lost to Arkansas last year in Jerry World. So you could look at them and say they're 8-4, but they barely beat Arkansas. And are they really that good? They should have beat Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. That game they only lost because they had that quarterback, the black cent kid. I forget his name. He's at Houston now. That just was horrible in that game. He was like 16 for 40, and they lose 13-10. If they had started Marcel Reed in that game, they probably win. They're 9-3 with a win over a playoff team, maybe even in the playoff themselves. It would have been a big deal. Like I think it's however you look at their season is different. So we'll probably learn a lot in week 1 based on that game.
Let's see. Also, Austin from work says people are wild with these Auburn predictions. Freeze ain't that guy anymore. I mean, I predicted. I think I had Auburn finishing 12th, something like that. But I don't know, guys. Sometimes I feel like there's so many occasions, especially with media days, where a coach and a program is just getting mocked and made fun of and trolled and like, he's going golfing, blah, blah, blah. And those are usually the years where they, I say win the SEC, but they don't usually get put down the whole offseason and then they actually follow it up with being terrible. Like, I don't know. Maybe they'll be better than what I think, but I don't think they're going to be great with their situation. So, yeah. But I would just, I don't know. Auburn is a weird school. But
they're picked 11th, right? Like as much as it feels like it's weird where it's like you talk to some people and they think Auburn's like legit has a chance to like maybe be, compete at the top. They had an interesting offseason, good portal cycle, but I don't think they're getting that much respect though. I mean, they're still picked pretty low. So I could see a case for them being all over the place. I could see a case for them going 5-7, but I could also see them going 9-3.
That's a good point. Also, too, somebody tweet. I guess it was Matt Jones. Real quick, it just made me laugh. Kentucky has one all SEC player. One. And it's the punter they gave 0 toughness to on the NCAA football game.
Damn.
That's a rough go.
Mm.
That's a rough go. Let's see. Also, Vids for me says, isn't it a little weird how similar our football and basketball teams are to UK? I love seeing them sound exactly like us when it comes to football.
It is a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. The whole KSR group over there was covering Kentucky football, and they were kind of feeling the same way. We're like, we'll see. Yeah, there'll be a season that gets played. We'll see. Let's see. Also, Jason wanted to know, what do we think about Arch Madness? Here's the thing. 2 things. If anybody gets annoyed by Arch Madness, I understand. But there's precedent for this, just like everything, because of who he is, because of his name. Like, does anybody really think that Arch Manning, when it was all crazy about him coming out of high school and him going to Texas, that going through media days, that there wasn't going to be a spectacle made about him, that it wasn't going to be this huge deal? Like, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, he's at least humble enough and understands, like, I haven't played a snap yet. And, as a starter, I got to prove myself. But he's a Manning. The Mannings are everywhere. It's just what's going to come with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah. And, he did enough in the periods that he did get to play when Quinn Ewers was hurt for a bit there. When he played against, like, one of those Louisiana schools. I don't remember if it was Monroe or who it was. And then I think he started against Mississippi State or whatever. And so he had the one game where he had a couple picks and people were like, oh God. And then he was pretty good, in the game after that. So it was just enough, I think, for people to, say, oh, he's got a big arm and oh, he's a Manning. So this justifies our excitement or whatever. It's going to get overhyped for sure, just because of the last name. I was listening to AT Aaron Torres this morning, and he was talking about it, and he was like, yeah, it's way overhyped because of his last name. Like, if his last name was Smith, then he'd be talked about, probably in the same vein as Ty Simpson, who's going to start at quarterback for Alabama and was a former 5-star who hasn't played a lot, or Gunnar Stockton, who's at Georgia, who's going to start for them, who's a former 5-star that nobody knew who the hell he was until Carson Beck got hurt at the end of last season. It would probably be more in the lines of that. It's going to be irritating, but I do think college football needs a villain. And as nice of a kid as he is, and he looked very frattish in the suit that he wore there, he's going to be that guy, because people are going to be tired of Arch Madness, tired of hearing about it. They're going to be rooting for the dude to fail. And I think that's what you need.
And he's at Texas.
And he's at Texas. Yes.
He's at Texas. And also, he's with one of the best play callers in the country, with one of the most talented teams in the country. It's like one of those things, like when Ohio State gets a new quarterback, you're like, okay, yeah, this guy's probably going to end up being pretty good. Like, I can just do the math there in my head. I think there's a lot of that as well, where it's easy to project based on the last name, based on where he's at, based on the fact that he's a big recruit. And so I agree. Like, he would definitely be a lot more like the Ty Simpsons of the world. But I think it makes 100% sense with Arch. And I'm a former Arch hater. I was kind of like, when he first went to college, I was like, I'm going to hate this kid. Like, I think he's overhyped, like whatever. He's actually turned out to be better than I thought he was. Like, I really didn't think he was like even like a future like top prospect type of guy, but he clearly is talented. And what I didn't know about him was that he's actually pretty cool. Like, he's like he seems to have personality. Like, he's not like a, like, because the Mannings, when they were playing, didn't really play with a ton of personality. He does, and I kind of like that. He's athletic too, which is interesting. So, like, I've kind of been won over by Arch a little bit. At the same time, if he does end up being bad and it becomes like a huge joke, I'm not going to not enjoy that. Like, that would actually be pretty funny. But again, it's good for college football. These guys that we watch and we can't wait to see if they fail, if they succeed, if they live up to the hype, all that. Like, that's what the sport needs for sure. And at Texas, it definitely helps to have such a polarizing figure. So I think Hog fans shouldn't have too much of a problem with it, where it's like, if you think he's overrated, we're going to get a chance to play him. You're going to get a chance to maybe watch him fail on the national stage. That's a good deal for you.
Yeah, and also, too, because I know we'll get to other chats and continue on here, but I was trying to think of, in time of media days, Manziel got a lot of hype and a spectacle. I mean, Arch might have been one of the biggest ones since then that got a lot of a spectacle, because almost every player that ends up having like Joe Burrow, for instance. Like, Joe Burrow was a good quarterback that went to media days, but it was going into the year where he blew up. Now, if he had come back the next year, it probably would have been a spectacle. But a lot of these guys aren't doing that. Once they have that big year, they move on. And with someone like Arch, it's a rare thing for a kid of that caliber to sit and wait in the wings for 2 seasons. I mean, that's just unheard of nowadays. A 5-star player, number 1 overall player, just not starting for 2 years, no matter what the position is. So there's an element of that too. But real quick, I always want to give a shout out to Kevin Sumlin, though, because that guy brought Johnny Manziel to media days after all that summer of Manziel and him getting kicked out of parties and everything. Which, because I look back, I was like, that was balls move. That was a bold move. I mean, we didn't even, not saying he for sure would have gone, but like, we didn't get Carmona to media days because of what he could have been asked about from the Liberty Bowl game 7 months ago. So the fact that Kevin Sumlin was like, yeah, I'm still.
When you're coming off a Heisman season, you kind of have to go to media days. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been a bigger controversy had he not gone, because he was the defending Heisman Trophy winner. I don't really think he had much of a say.
No. Well, I will say what made me laugh to follow that up the next year, Kevin Sumlin brought a punter. So that kind of shed where he was at and what he wanted to do with it. We'll continue to get your chats, folks, here on Freedom Friday. And it's, of course, here at Inside Arkansas. We're presented by our friends over at Hickey and Hole Law. Divorce and custody cases are far too important to try to face alone. If you need any advice on that, just ask the viral meme going around of that CEO over there at the Coldplay concert. I think people involved in that one probably need to call Hickey and Hole Law Partners over here in Arkansas, because they are going to provide you with that persistent and diligent representation. Help guide you through the entire process, where they've handled thousands of family law cases and experienced nearly every scenario that has ever come up. The foundation of a strong attorney-client relationship is honesty and trust, and Hickey and Hole Law prides themselves on building relationships with their clients, as well as providing honest, principled advice and representation. They have offices across the state of Arkansas: Fort Smith, Fayetteville, Little Rock, Mena. So give them a call today, 479-434-2414, or you can check out their website. It's hickeyandhole.com, hickeyandhole.com. You can also scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. A couple more other chats here too. Got this from Evan. He says, is Taylor the best quarterback that we've had since Mallet?
Okay, before even answering the answer is no. But before y'all even answer this question and say no, when you think best quarterback since Mallet, who comes to your brain?
I hate you, Andrew.
I don't know if I have the answer.
It's KJ Jefferson. It's
KJ
No,
Jefferson.
no.
Yes, it is. It's KJ Jefferson. Haters,
No, it's not.
the record setter.
I still got Brandon Allen over KJ. Brandon Allen erasure is something that like I can't stand for.
Now listen, I love Brandon Allen too. But Brandon Allen, as much, and I do like talent wise and everything, Brandon Allen, but Brandon Allen had one really good year. I mean, KJ was pretty consistent. To the 2022 season or preseason was not great for anybody, but yeah, I mean, I'd have a hard time not putting KJ in it, for considering, as Curtis said, the records and all that he broke. But
honestly, their careers are almost dead even. Like, I think it's actually kind of funny that like people in the comments are like very offended one way or the other. If you look at their careers, Brandon Allen had a 2014 season where he was like basically a game manager plus. I think he had like 22 touchdowns, 5 picks on a 7-6 team that won the Texas Bowl. Pretty similar to what KJ did in 2022, although KJ had a little bit more yardage. And then Allen had a really good senior year where he went 8-5. That's not terribly dissimilar from KJ's 2021 season with Traylon Burks. And then they each had a year that just was a complete disaster on a bad team. And then they had a year where they were where they only started a couple games. Like, year by year, almost identical careers, honestly, in terms of wins, in terms of competency, in terms of everything.
Yeah. Well, I guess Logan, he does, like Tyler Wilson was definitely there too. But
Tyler Wilson, he does deserve to be in the combo, and we can give him his flowers. I think Tyler Wilson was Petrino's best coaching job. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he's probably he's like substantially worse than all these guys, but he put up numbers that were decent, but that was straight up Petrino and those receivers.
Also, let's see, David, I was trying to think of what he was referring to in this. He says, is there any quarterback in Arkansas history that could evade the play Manning backup quarterback controversy?
No, there's not.
I'm about to say,
every single one of you listening right now, we're trying to bench Taylon Green for Malachi Singleton the entire damn year. So you think if they had an Arch Manning as the backup that you guys wouldn't be doing that? Come on now. Come on. Just because we're anointing Taylor Green as a first team All SEC Heisman candidate, first round draft pick going into this next season doesn't mean history didn't happen last year. No, if there was a Manning as the backup quarterback, you guys would be it'd be crazy. In fact, if Madden Iamaliava was still on this roster, you guys would be doing this shit right now on Taylor Green. You're just not doing it because he's not here. Yeah, there's no David. I'm telling you, man, that there ain't a single quarterback that Arkansas could have where this wouldn't be a thing. There ain't one.
No, you're 100% right. It's funny about we look back at the Mitch Mustang thing and laugh at it. I lived in those moments. I was in rooms with Hog fans who were like livid that Casey Dick was playing. they wanted Mitch Mustang to play. Like he was only playing because there was a caving to the mob that happened there. And I remember when he got in against USC and led a game-winning or a garbage time touchdown drive, and everybody was like, "Offense is clicking with Mustang."
Dude,
I was one of those. I was one of those that was demanding. But yeah, most popular person is always the backup quarterback, as they say. So
yeah, and I think people calling for backups are the loudest, not necessarily bullshit.
No,
it was ridiculous last year. It was crazy, bro.
Yeah. Not saying all of you, every single one of you did, but there was a very strong. Yeah, it was a very strong sentiment. It was a very strong, over the top, happening all the time, especially even after the Tennessee game, because then you're like, oh, Malachi came in and led the game-winning drive. It's like, golly. So yeah, I mean, it's. We always forget things. We delete things out of our memory, and it's fine. It never happened. Like hatred for John Calipari and all that. And just no, it's fine. Never happened. Did not happen. Also, too, this was a question on Twitter because I know I have some other things to get into. I want you guys' thoughts. They said, if you just found out that Taylor Green was second or third team All SEC quarterback at the end of the year, what do you think that season would have been like for Arkansas win-loss wise? So I guess they're saying if he was voted All SEC quarterback, second or third team at the end of the year, and I was like, because of how good he played, like, what does that do? What would you say Arkansas's record was? I think that's what he's trying to say.
And I think 8-4 is what I would say.
Okay,
that would mean that if Arkansas goes 8-4, Taylor Green put on the cape.
Yeah, I see. I was gonna say if 8-4 would be first team All SEC in my opinion. Like maybe flirt around with 6-6, something like that, but. Listen, there's some other good quarterbacks in this league, too, that they're going to have to overcome. I mean, we just talked about one that with the last name Manning. So I feel like he's probably going to be pretty good.
Well, like if there's a team that goes 12-0 and it has anything to do with their quarterback, like that's going to be an auto first team, even if Taylor really was better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's true, too. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Also, some people just crack me up, man, of the last season. Sometimes I know I forget things in previous seasons too. I don't always nail it, but one thing that I will pride myself in, I remember how fans felt at certain points in time. I will never forget those things. Like there's times that we can always go back to and remember when you guys hated players or wanted players benched or anything like that. So don't forget it. Don't forget it. I wish there was a way almost that we could have receipts for all these things and just go back and I'm not about screen recording chats during live stream post game shows, and we're calling out. We're having names. And we're going to call out names for this.
Dude, it was every day on Inside Arkansas Live too. I mean, the chat would just filled with it.
Dude, it was crazy. We come in on a Monday, and it'd be like, well, yeah, Arkansas allowed 8 sacks in this game. It was rough showing from the offensive line. We couldn't get it out of our mouth. People were like, maybe that idiot Taylor Green shouldn't hold on to the ball so long. Get rid of it. Get out of your damn hands. Bench him. Wouldn't happen in Singleton. Like it was a lot, which is why I was over the top of my reaction a minute ago. Like it was crazy, bro. Well, it probably was it's not every single person, but buddy, there was a majority. Yes. It was crazy, man.
Yes. And also to that too, what cracks me up about that more so than anything is I remember getting in live streams before we even start, and there's already somebody in the chat be like, Malachi Singleton, the name starter yet? It's just like, oh my gosh, like we haven't started. We haven't kicked off yet. So and poor KJ Jackson. And we all like KJ Jackson, but folks, guaranteed, we're going to do our predictions once we get closer to the season officially. And we're going to do some fun little predictions like this, where what's going to be the main thing that's always going to be said in these chats. You guys are all going to say we need to start KJ Jackson at some point. Even if Taylor Green's having a good year, there's going to be a game, a drive, a situation in the season where be like, you know what? Why don't we give KJ Jackson a shot? Taylor, the red zone offense ain't going as great. And, KJ's big, able bodied. He can get those short yardage possessions. There's going to be something that happens there too. So
I will say about KJ Jackson, I recently accepted the head coaching job at Arkansas on my dynasty. It's 2027 now. KJ Jackson's redshirt junior year. I didn't even have to bring in a quarterback. I just ran it with KJ Jackson. We're 4-0 right now, and he's putting up some crazy numbers. So take that into account when you're projecting his future. I can confirm redshirt junior KJ Jackson is a player.
You heard it here first. I know we'll have our best and worst of the week in a second, and I don't have the graphics, so that's fine. But I did want to bring up the Alumni Hall question of the day presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall. Shop them online at insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. Use promo code Hogs by 20 for 20% off your purchase. I just wanted to ask this was before the official predicted order of finish came out, but where Razorback fans were going to have Arkansas predicted, like what range in the SEC, 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, 13 through 16. Overwhelmingly 9 through 12 is what people said.
It does not surprise me one bit because that Kool-Aid is getting thick, baby. The last 24 hours, there's been an extra cup of sugar added into the sauce there.
Yeah. No, that's something that I saw and then looked at what was reality, and then it started making me laugh because I'm like, that's just not a thing.
So what was the percentage? What was the number percent? Was the other range 13 through 16?
Yeah. So you had 45% of you said 9 through 12. 13 through 16 said 39 or 30% of you said 13 through 16.
Still a good amount.
Yeah.
A third of the fan base.
21% said 5 through 8. So probably still
that's a little too high for that.
Yeah, just a little bit too high. So
adding those two things, how much of the fan base thinks they're going top 12? Like 80%? 70%?
If they're going top 12, 70%. So for what it's worth, it's a very official ranking systems too. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by our friends over at Looper Auction and Realty. Why wait months or even years to sell your home the traditional way? At Looper Auction and Realty, they offer a faster and smarter option. Sell your home at auction. No repairs, no contingencies, no drawn-out negotiations. You set the terms, buyers compete, and you walk away with a firm closing date. Whether it's your home, an estate, or an investment property, the auction method puts you in control and gets it sold fast. Call Looper Auction Realty at 479-996-4848 or visit looperauction.com. You can also scan that QR code up there to get your home sold fast because they do it all with those home and estate and investment properties. It's Looper Auction Realty, sold in 30, closed in 30. All right, so guys, for my best of the week, real quick, I want to give Sam Pittman a shout out. I know that we may talk more about this in depth later, but with all the order prediction for the SEC and everything, when he was asked yesterday, we talked a little bit about it, but the Arkansas State game, he was asked about this in War Memorial, and I give him a lot of credit on this particular quote. Take a listen.
You mentioned the A-State game. You guys are playing them this year, and you need that rivalry. Butch Jones has been pretty adamant about wanting to play it every year. Would you like to see it added to the schedule on an annual basis? And if so, is that game best played in Little Rock, or is it best like 2-for-1, home and home?
No. I want to play them in Fayetteville, and if that's what I want to do. You ask me what I want. If we're going to play Arkansas State, I want to play them at home. And right now, under contract, we're in our last year at Little Rock. Now, whatever the governor decides, that's what she decides. But right now, that we're in our last year at Little Rock, so it'd have to either be there or here. And I'm not real interested in going over there and playing.
You mentioned the A-State game.
Just a perfect answer to me from Sam Pittman, where I'm very critical sometimes of his communication and his approach, his tone, his things that he does in press conferences. But that right there to me is the exact response. I did not want to hear, "Oh man, it'll be really cool to go over there to Jonesboro." I don't want to hear of, oh, this game means so much to our state. Oh, we got to do this. He's like, I'm not interested in going over there. I don't want to go over there. We're doing this game in Little Rock only because we had to, and we had to do an amendment. I guess I'll leave it up to the governor and what she wants to do, but I have zero interest in playing that game anywhere else. And if we're going to play them, it's going to be in my backyard.
That was hilarious, man.
That was his best moment of the press conference. I really like being dead serious. I thought that was his best moment of the press conference.
You want to play that game in Little Rock? No. Should it be a home and home? No.
Yeah, I have no interest in going there. Love that. That was the closest you'll ever get to Sam Pittman being mean, where he's just like, I am not going to freaking Jonesboro to play a road game. I get 12 games a year. You want one of them to be in Jonesboro? Come on now. That's crazy.
It's ridiculous that they're going to Memphis to play at Memphis this year. It's ridiculous that they're going to, and Andrew, you brought this up. I didn't know this was a thing, that they're going to Tulsa to play a road game at Tulsa in a couple years. That is all nonsense. You damn sure ain't playing a true road game with an in-state school. That's ridiculous. I'm glad he answered it forcefully.
Yeah, and look, I'm not crazy about the Tulsa trip. I'm not crazy about Memphis. I'm not completely out on playing road games against, group of 5 teams or someone, like a Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, whoever it is. Obviously, those are not group of 5 teams. I'm not anti-road games in general, but definitely in-state. You cannot be going true road game in-state. No. And I know that some people do it, but in some other states where maybe it's not as big of a drop-off, maybe like Georgia Tech, or Florida State, or whatever like that. Yeah, you can do something like that, but you can't be going to in-state road game. I mean, to a venue like that. I just, and that's not a disrespect. It's just Big Brother shouldn't have to do that. Arkansas is the Big Brother here. They don't get to be the Big Brother too much. They are the Big Brother here. They decide exactly when and how, if they even want to play at all. Arkansas State should be thrilled that Arkansas is even giving them an opportunity to play, especially in freaking Little Rock. But even if they let them come to Fayetteville, say thank you and take this $1 million and shut up.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm being dead serious too.
No, seriously, man. I was really, really surprised. And I remember the day that this game got announced. It's because we had this huge, hour and a half Zoom with Sam Pittman and then a bunch of new position coaches that they hired. It was in the middle of winter. And hearing that game was even in Little Rock for this, I was like, are you serious? It was one thing to play them, but for that even to be in Little Rock as a quote unquote neutral or whatever the hell you want to call it, that was wild to me. Yeah, going there, and I've been to several games, football games at in Jonesboro. Fun time, whatever. But U of A ain't going down there, man. Sorry,
no,
that's
no.
great.
And that was the thing that I have been trying to be so adamant about. And it's getting to the point where I'm going to start being disrespectful towards Arkansas State and not doing anything intentional. But you're an SEC program. You do not play in-state, Sun Belt, Conference USA, whichever conference other in-state, at their place, and you do it every year and make it the thing. That's just not your pride is hanging on by a thread as it is in your football program. You don't need to make this a thing, and you don't need to go, because what was it Miami when they supposed to go to Jonesboro for home and Miami canceled it. They're like, no, we are not doing this. I'm pretty sure that happened.
Was that a hurricane casualty or something? Something happened there. But
but I think it was that they blamed it maybe on hurricane stuff. And everyone was like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's horrible, but the hurricane's not in Jonesboro, type of thing. But that's, you just don't do those things. And then when I found out, like you said, Andrew, about Tulsa, whoever is in charge, cancel that, pay the bun, stop doing that stuff. Stop.
I've been in a blender for an hour since Andrew told me that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And in fact, when he said it and then he looked it up and was like, oh yeah, it's a thing. I still didn't believe you. So I looked it up myself and there it was. I was like, wow.
Dude,
next year.
Razorback baseball with 8 million games, maybe once maybe goes to a non-big time school's place to play in the non-conference. Like Missouri State, they'd go up and maybe that happens in a midweek.
They'll go one game on a midweek at Missouri State, and it's only because they play in the cool venue.
Right. And basketball, they really don't do that. But in football, where the games are so important and so, you need as many at home, and you're going to choose to do that. I don't get it. That's
by the way, guys, y'all want to know something? Y'all want to know what I'm gonna say a sentence right now, and this is a category titled "Things a Football Recruit Has Never Said in the History of Humanity." Well, I really wanted to attend the University of Arkansas, but they never played a road game against the small schools in the state, and so a program like that, I just can't see myself playing for. I'm not going to go play there because they would not leave their palace and go to Jonesboro. I'm not going to attend school there because of this. Just think, it's never happened in the history of humanity. And I know it's a narrative that people say, but if you think about it for like 90 seconds, you'll realize why it's really stupid that like a recruit at Pulaski Academy is supposed to give a shit about if Arkansas goes to Jonesboro. They don't.
Yeah.
The next Desi Sills or Jashad Stewart is not going to not go to Arkansas because they didn't go play in Jonesboro, and he wouldn't commit to Arkansas because they did if it ever happened. Yeah. I'm with you, man.
People are drunk. So, anyways,
the governor aspect of this,
yeah,
because I've seen some people like, I didn't know the governor had a say in this. I got to be honest with you, I didn't either.
There is. So I need to because I remember talking about this on the Buzz when I found out about it. I need to think about, but I believe it's something to the extent of because it's technically owned by the Parks and Rec. Is it the Parks and Rec or something that the stadium's owned by it? And like one of the things that's written into law is that the Razorbacks have to play there, but they get to decide who it is, or maybe it's just an in-state team gets to play there, and then the governor decides which in-state teams play there. There's something to that extent. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Okay.
But yes, there is an element which is, again, very stupid and should not be a thing. So, but I'll look into that. But best of the week for you, Curtis. What do you got?
Oh gosh, I forgot we were doing this segment because we got so wound up in this. That was a good thing, by the way, that how Sam Pittman handled it. That's a worthy best, no doubt about it. I saw somewhere a little bit earlier in the chat, someone said JJ Andrews, and I've used JJ Andrews a lot for my best of the week because he's been awesome all summer. I can't in good conscience do that. It was kind of my plan because I was watching him as we started the show, and I've been watching him all week over at Peach Jam. This is not the game to do that because his team just got the hell beat out of him, and he didn't play well in this particular game. There in front of Cal and everything like that. Now, I will give him a shout out because him and his team played against the number one prospect in the country, Tyron Stokes, and the number one shooting guard in the country, Jason Crow, who's getting ready to commit to Missouri yesterday. And not only did they win, he had a great game, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Played again later that night. He had 5 steals in the game. I think he leads the Peach Jam in steals right now. So he's been balling out for sure. But that did throw a curveball into my plans. But what I will do is I'll give a best of the week to Peach Jam just in general. The product has always been awesome. It's really like if you're a basketball junkie, even if you don't follow recruiting that much, it's almost like a bucket list type of thing. It's just really cool. And there's a lot of talent. It's like a who's who of coaches and everything down there, but they've upgraded so much in the way that the coverage happens from this to where a couple years ago, the EYBL, like they would start streaming the games from their website. So you could just get the raw video feed or whatever. Now, like I was just watching on NBA TV and they were playing on there. And the true best of the week is that they've got John Fanta on the calls. I just love that man so much. He's electric on there. And he was great. It was him and Adam Finkelstein, who's the head of scouting at 24/7 Sports. So it's entertaining. It's a wealth of information. Like you get that combined with being able to watch this kid who's committed to play for Arkansas next year and all these other prospects. It's really turned out to be super enjoyable. And I've had a blast checking it out so far this week, and I'll be doing it all weekend, honestly.
Curtis, I'm glad you have, that. And I'm being dead serious. Like some people may hear you detail that and don't realize how cool that is for people that are weirdos like us that are trying to consume as much as we can. Today on the Bombastic Podcast, I'm literally going to play videos from Perfect Game showcases. All these kids that are coming in as freshmen throwing, because they just have, literally they have all these videos of like, hey, here's this kid. He's at the Marlins Park throwing a bullpen. Check it out or whatever. I'm like, man, this is awesome that I get to see this. All the Cape Cod League games. The Cape Cod League games are tough because some teams in the Cape, every time they're at home, they'll stream their games. And then sometimes if you're on the road, you're kind of dependent on them. Some teams like the Brewster Whitecaps don't do anything. And so it's like if your team's playing, if Cahillo hits a home run against the Brewster Whitecaps, we're not finding that footage. Like, I just know that. So I kind of have to like sift and know, they're at the Cotuit Kettlers. The Kettlers are going to have the feed or whatever. And so this time of year, dude, that kind of stuff where you're able to just find the like really high level action for free, it's big time.
Electric.
Well, my best of the week is also going to end up being my best of the weekend. I love fights, love the scraps, the big UFC weekends. UFC 318 this weekend. UFC 318 is cool because that's my area code. I don't know if you guys know this. Y'all don't see my phone number as much anymore, but 318, I'm a boot boy. And it's UFC 318, and they're not in the 318. They're in the 225 in New Orleans. But being in the state of Louisiana is cool. The reason they're in New Orleans is because the retirement fight of Dustin freaking Poirier. John, do you know that name? That name has to sound familiar to you, right?
I do. Yeah, it does sound familiar.
Well, if you look at his resume is unbelievable. Like, even as a casual fan, if you look at his resume, you'll be like, oh, Conor McGregor's on this? Habib Nurmagomedov's on this? Islam Makhachev? You just see the lists. It's pretty unreal, the amount of legends that he's fought. One of those legends that he's fought is Max Holloway, who he's fighting again this weekend. This is for the BMF title, the baddest MFer title, which is honestly, like, I'm not that into that, but this fight's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for it. It's in Louisiana. It's in New Orleans. And Dustin Poirier's already said he's retiring, and you never can really trust a guy like this when he's like, oh, yeah, I'm never going to want to fight again. They all want to fight again, but it does seem like this is going to at least be the end of his UFC career. And so I'm excited for it. That place is going to be a freaking madhouse in New Orleans. Like, I don't think the general public outside of Louisiana realizes how hard the state of Louisiana loves Dustin Poirier. I mean, this dude grew up an hour from me, and like, I'm not even joking when I say, like, it makes me proud to be from the same state as this guy. Like, when I watch him do his thing and just the way he carries himself, the way he does everything. And I watched when he knocked out Conor McGregor in Abu Dhabi back in 2021. Me and my buddy watched that at a B-Dubs in Alexandria, Louisiana, my hometown, about an hour from his hometown. So not even in his hometown. And this is a fight that was happening in the Middle East. The way that B-Dubs was behaving for this he just gives me a little bit of an inkling of how crazy it's going to be down in New Orleans, which, most people know, is like the death capital of the world. It's just it's a crazy place in general. So you've got a Cajun in that facility. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm really excited for that. They did a face-off in the French Quarter the other day. I've been watching all the clips and everything. The UFC's vlog series they do is the best content in sports right now. I feel like it's really good stuff, and I'm excited. And John, we might even have to get you to watch this fight with us.
Man, well, in that case, I mean, it must be a big fight if I'm getting an invite to watch this sport that I don't know anything about, but I'll be that guy. I'll be like a kid that wanders into a movie and just asks questions about, so why is he doing that? What's that thing with his leg? Things like that. That would really be important questions. I'll be that one. All right. So for my worst of the week, this is, I was at Media Days, obviously, and there's a lot of things I could do for worst of the week because the experience definitely was not as cool, but not as far as content and all that, just more format and setup. But I will say the thing that I do get tired of, though, is people that do one of two things. They either take it too seriously that are there, or they take it too seriously when they're not there. And what I mean by that is there are people that are there at Media Days that take it so seriously where if you ask any sort of question that is not something that they would write about, or if it's some sort of like thing that you got to be able to, this is an astute media event that you better be a professional 100%. And if you're, walking in with tennis shoes, there was a guy that actually says that if you walk in with tennis shoes, you should not be allowed to cover a SEC Media Days, where I'm like, my goodness, okay, relax. But also the people that think it's a joke and feel like it's just so lame. And I mean, what in the world's going, like, it's just become a spectacle and it's a bunch of fanboy and stuff and all that. It's a media event that you don't take too seriously, and it's in the middle of summer, and it's just fun. Like, that's all it is. I mean, it's great to network. It's great for connections. Intern Reagan got a lot of great connections to, meet people and where she moves on with her career. So the thing is I just don't understand why people like hate on SEC Media Days. I get that, yes, it is over the top, but I think everyone knows it's over the top and they play into that a little bit. But anyway, that was just my worst of the week is doing all of that and going through all of it, and then people just thinking that it's so like stupid or so too serious or not serious enough. Either way, it's just really annoying. And like, hey, it's fun to go. If you're in the media, you should try it sometime. It's a lot of fun to go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. And what the other thing that people have to understand about that is it's like 2 weeks before fall camp starts. And so thinking outside of the box a little bit and, having a little bit of fun with it and making it a little bit more entertaining, that's a good thing because every day for the next month, you're going to hear about the position battle for backup quarterback and, and everything else like that. And yeah, I think some people just take themselves a little bit too seriously from that standpoint. I want to go to the football media day one day soon. I was talking about it a little bit on the pod at the Palace this morning. Tell me if I'm right in this assessment, John. To me, it's like basketball media day is a sprint and football is a marathon. Because basketball, it's like 16 teams, 32 players, one day, baby. And then like you're there for a whole week with football. It's just kind of a different kind of grind, I guess.
Yeah. No, I heard you say that this morning on the podcast, and it is that way. It just feels like maybe it's more so of a sprint and a marathon, only because you get one coach and 3 players, and there's so much media, and there's so many different places they go that it's like, you look up. For instance, here, just to be transparent, there's not one single time I did not step a foot into the main room this entire week because you're just up there in your radio row and your people are all around and you're doing. It's so chaotic. But I will say that I wish basketball media days would get to that point. Maybe it does at some point in time. But I don't know. I enjoy it. It's just so staunchly different. I think the marathon thing though is pretty crazy because you hit 16 teams in one day. At least it's only 4 and 4 and 4 and 4, but 16 teams in one day is it's an absurd thing. And I can't believe they do that.
Oh man. For like 20 seconds there, you just looked like you were choking yourself out. Just
hanging.
There's times I just wanted to, man. Cause it'd be like, I'd wake up or I'd like look up and the time is just gone. And somebody's coming up to me and introducing themselves. They're just like, I want you to know that, if you ever need anything. And I was like, okay, here's your card. And they're like, okay, so what, how did you get into this business? I'm like, I am trying to edit a Taylor Green interview and I need you to leave me alone. And it's sad because I don't want to be mean, but sometimes it just gets over the top. But yeah, stressful. I'm going to need y'all to come with wherever it's at next year. They haven't announced it. And I'm scared because if they haven't announced it, that means they're probably going to announce it at a place no one wants to go. So we'll see. But rumors were speculating and throwing around. I know we'll get to y'all's worst. That's going to be a new city that they haven't been to before. New Orleans, which would be, to me, the cool one. I wouldn't mind in New Orleans. But
it's going to be a lot.
Yeah. But Orlando was one. Whatever, the Mouse House.
Well, if they do Orlando, we're definitely doing the full on Disney SEC Media Days kablammy.
No, Andrew, you just want to go back to Star Wars land. Come on now, you got to go back.
That's what we'll do. We'll go one day to Hollywood Studios for Disney, and then we'll go to like Universal, see their like new everything, and then we'll talk to Pittman.
It's there, but these are the 2 other cities though, and I thought of you too, both of you, St. Louis or Houston. Both of those are in the mix.
Houston's not a good SEC Media Day city. It's not a college football city. It's just not. And I love Houston. It's not a college football city.
St. Louis obviously isn't. There isn't college football there. Like the only Division I school is my alma mater, Lindenwood, and that's
Yeah. Well, okay, good. I'm glad y'all said that because I
do it in St. Louis.
They would probably do it at the Dome, where the Battlehawks play now, but where the
Well,
it's attached to the convention center and stuff. So I bet that's where they do it.
I'm glad y'all said that because I was about to rip on both of those places and locations, but since y'all have ties to them, I wanted y'all's reaction first, and then when you said, no, it would be, I was like, okay, good, because I don't want them there either. Or you could just do it this way, like just have it rotate of Dallas, Nashville, and Atlanta, so everyone's taken care of. Do something. Anyways, I've spent too much time. No one cares about it, but it's just weird. It takes too much time. But
St. Louis would have been cool like 10 years ago when that one random year where the SEC basketball tournament was there. It was awesome, but they're in the thick of the city now too. Like it's just not really somewhere you want to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But hell, Arkansas might be there for the NCAA tournament this next year, and I'll tell people where to not go
Yeah,
and
thank
get
you.
all your car windows bashed out like we did, just sitting in a parking garage. That's my worst of the.
Worst of
No, gosh, man, it's crazy. My worst of the week. Well, I feel really bad. I was texting you guys earlier. I just feel so bad for my dog right now. You know what I mean? It's he's just a good boy, and most dogs are, and he's getting older, and he's okay. Like he's got a bunch of different stuff going on. You're a wiener dog. It's like your back starts going on you, and you got to be on medication for that. And then he's got Cushing's disease, so he's got to be on medication to regulate that. And all these things are like counteracting or whatever, and it's screwing him up as they're trying to figure out, okay, he can take this medicine but not this medicine, he can do this but not that, he's got to do more of this or less of that or whatever. And we really thought that we just had it figured out, and he had a few good days there where he's just back to normal, feeling good, running around, acting crazy, appetite good. And man, just had a setback this morning, and he's sick and he feels crummy, and I got to take him back to the vet, and he's going to be all right. I mean, he's was kind of more trial and error and stuff like that, but it's just very much been one step forward, two steps back with him. And I feel bad, it's my little homie. And I want him to be as healthy and feeling good as possible, like when the baby comes and everything. Cause I think it would be cool for, his last time on this earth, however long it's going to be, whether it's a few months or a couple of years, who knows, for him to be able to enjoy that. And, it's something that's been weighing on us. And man, I thought we were across the corner. In fact, I took a video of him last night because he was playing, his tail was wagging and everything like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm proud of this man. I'm going to put him on social media. And I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because now today he feels like crap again. I got to take him to the vet after this. He'll be all right, but it just makes me sad. You know how it is.
Yeah, man. Hate to hear that. Y'all are, you're in the home stretch, and obviously that's sucks. But it's like you've known for a while now that you're like in this era, and so it's like you want to just soak up every moment you have, and then like you're saying, you're trying to make sure those moments for him are as peaceful, comfortable, and just pain-free as possible. And so you kind of just have to that moment last night that you're talking about. Every single one of those moments for for here on out, you just kind of have to savor it and be like, all right, good to see him like this.
Yeah.
And soak it all up. And it's something about like kind of knowing you're there in that mode is it makes it a little bit more special, but also makes it really emotional. I mean, it's going to be, and especially you're going through a lot of emotional times right now at home. And so
it's a lot going. And I also feel, God, man, you guys are like my therapist here. I also feel a little bit guilty at times here because like it's weighing on me. Like he's been my little sidekick for 14 years or whatever. And you see that going in that direction. And so then like I catch myself being real down and kind of doom and gloom sometimes. But at the same time, it's like my wife is 7 months pregnant and we're getting ready to bring a baby into this world. And I'm overjoyed with that. And so sometimes when I'm real sad about the dog and she can tell I'm down, I'm like, now I feel like kind of a jerk because she thinks I'm not excited about the baby. Of course I am. So it's kind of a weird balance in here of how everything's going on. But I did see in the chat, Patrick, he says my dog was losing his mind during the storms last night. I just wanted to bring this up because he gets a little skittish with storms and stuff, like fireworks on 4th of July he didn't like. But last night was weird where here in Fayetteville, it was thundering and lightning all night and it didn't rain for a majority of that. Like it was just kind of a weird deal. But at like 1 o'clock in the morning, Michelle just raises up out of bed and I was awake. Like I couldn't sleep and I was on my phone and she's like, somebody just banged on our door. And she was convinced. She was like, somebody is pounding on our front door. And I was like, was I out of it? What the hell's going on? So I grabbed the baseball bat, and I walked out there and I was walking around the house and standing out and like nothing happened. But I think it was like the thunder and like the reverb or whatever. Maybe it sounded like it. I don't know, but she was shook, man. Woke up out of a dead sleep in a sweat and was like, somebody's banging on our door. I just got to thinking about that. And I was like, well, first of all, lady, you're crazy. That didn't happen. But second of all, wouldn't that be like the most terrifying thing in the world? You know what I mean? Like just at 1 o'clock in the morning, quiet, peaceful, you would think. And there's just a little storm going on. And all of a sudden some strangers pounding on your door. That'd have been nuts. Like what if I'd opened the door with the bat or whatever and there's been some freakazoid there? I don't even know what I would have done. That's how horror movies start, man.
Yeah, I'm about to say you would have been full Otani out there and just switch hitting, just over there on somebody. So
Yeah,
feel you, man.
crazy.
Well, I appreciate y'all's worst of the weekends. Mine, I don't think is really that bad. I don't have too much to complain about, but I will say the MLB All-Star Game, which I do think is it might be the best All-Star weekend that we still have left in this country. Why did they do it in the middle of the week? Maybe they always do this, and I know they've done it now where they like have timed it up with the MLB draft and stuff. But like I feel like doing it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever. Like I don't know, it just wasn't. It didn't hit for me, and like I thought there were some cool moments from All Star Weekend. Like I thought the Derby was fine. I thought the All Star Game was really cool. I just hate that it happened in the middle of the 9 to 5 work week. Like, what are we doing here? I feel like it just could have been cooler, and I'm kind of bummed out. Looking back in hindsight, because like I was excited for the All Star week, and then like it kind of came and went without me really tapping in with it.
It does feel silly that it's not a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. It really does.
Yeah, I know it's weird. I don't think this was done on purpose, but SEC Football Media Days has followed the All-Star Game for 2 years in a row, like in the same week and the same location. Last year being in Dallas or Arlington, this year being in Atlanta. So that's why the only reason I know, at least for the last 2 years, it's always been in the middle of the week. But that's another reason I'm hoping that goes away, because between that and the Beyonce concert back-to-back nights, my goodness, man, it was nobody gave a rip about SEC Media Days in that city or in that hotel and all of that. So yeah.
It's very sounds reminiscent to nobody giving a rip about the Sweet 16 in Vegas when the Taylor Swift concert was going on when we were there.
Yes.
We were overrun by Swifties, John and I. And it's not as cool of a thing as it sounds like. I gotta be honest with you, it's a little uncomfortable at times.
There's so many miserable dads. There's so many miserable dads there.
Oh yeah.
But I guess real quick, another worst is just my travel luck, man. It's awful. And the valet lost my keys. Apparently, I wasn't the only one. Ryan Brown from first round, the next round, got his keys lost. And it's just, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to go home, and I was there for 45 minutes, and they just couldn't find my keys. And so I had to leave during rush hour traffic in Atlanta to try to get out of downtown. Just miserable. So it's like, it's always something. I just can't always go according to plan. But
I know by the time I text you back, you had your keys, but I legitimately started wondering. I was like, what if they just really are lost? And you're like, what happens if they just can't find them? That would have been tough.
They better just put me up for a few free nights and get me my entire luggage home on Delta first class.
Right.
And they can keep finding my keys
or something.
Yeah. I don't know, but geez, it's just, it's always something, man. And of course they're always very caring and nice about it too. As in, like, it was my fault that the keys were lost, because I described the keys to them. They wanted me to describe them. I was like, it's got this, this, this. They come back. They're like, are you sure you described it correctly? And I wanted to just, I wanted to throw something. I was like, I want to go home. You think? I was like, never mind. I'm not going to go on it, because I'll just, it will ruin the show and the vibes. But speaking of vibes, let's go ahead and get into all your chats here in the final segment of the show, presented by our friends over at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. We know it's hot outside. Sun is shining, though, and you want to spend these weekends out on the water, but you don't have a boat. That's okay, because Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas is going to have you covered, where they give you access to the boat without the commitment, where you will be able to have all the access when it comes to getting on the boat, having a good time, and coming back. That's it. I mean, that's what you do. You don't have to worry about the slips, the marinas, the maintenance, or anything. They have locations at Greers Ferry Lake in Arkansas, as well as Lake Hamilton down in Hot Springs. Or you can also spend a day on the river in Little Rock. Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas will help make your summer in the natural state the best one yet. So check out their website at freedomboatclubar.com to learn more. That's freedomboatclubar.com to learn more about the benefits of joining the club. All right, so we'll get to some chats here before we close up shop here on the show. Let's see. Derek says, I believe from all the SEC Media Days this year was different for Sam. I believe he believes his team and the whole go to the playoffs sounds crazy, but I believe it 10-2. Okay.
Hey, Andrew used to tell me back when he first started. And when he'd say it to me, he knew it would get under my skin. But if I was pessimistic about an Arkansas basketball game or football game or whatever, he'd be like, believe in something. I'd be like, shut up, dude. I don't need to hear that right now. Okay. Don't pump the sunshine in my face. He would hit me with that. I'd be like, God, I hate when he says that. Yeah, believe in something, man. Believe in something. Good for you. I do not share in your interpretation of Sam Pittman's press conference necessarily. I know he said that he liked his team, and we've heard that plenty. And I'm sure that he does. I don't think I'm gonna be going any 10-2s or anything like that, but I do like it, but I give you guys crap for it because it was like 3 days ago when we'd bring up football and people were like, I'm out. I'm out of here, man. I'm glad that people are getting excited about it. And I'm glad that they're finding reasons to be optimistic. You have to, man, because it's still the Razorbacks. It's still college football. And, backs are against the wall. Come out swinging, boys. I'm all for that. 10-2, though. I don't know, brother.
Believe in something, man. Stand for nothing. You'll fall for anything. But no, I am glad that people are starting to get excited. I'm with you, Curtis, that I just didn't think yesterday's press conference, I didn't think it was a bad, horrible. I didn't think he came away being I hate my team. I just didn't get I love this team type of vibe.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't really care. I'm not here to overanalyze. It's just funny that that's now the second or third person we've seen that was after watching the press conference, I now think he loves this team and it's going to be a special year and all this. And so listen, that's what this time of year is for. That's what this event, SEC Media Days, is for. That's what fall camp is for. It's for getting us excited and learning about our team. And we hope y'all fall in love with them, and we hope they give you something to fall in love with. And if we have to eat a bunch of crow on the show, that'll be good content for you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we have to sit here and say, wow, did not see it coming. Arkansas went 8-4, 9-3, man. How about that? That would be we would have a lot of fun during that time period. Y'all would have a lot of fun. So I think that should excite Hog fans as well.
Especially in the fact that since I'm usually the one that picks them to be higher than they always end up being. I'll eat crow, and I'll eat crow on the opposite too. Where if I pick them to finish lower than what they are, I will gladly
go find a crow and kill it.
Yeah,
and eat it.
Yep, and then set myself on fire and jump off a bridge. I don't know. I'll do something crazy. I'm sure if Arkansas goes 10-2, man, I don't know what I do, but I may just I may have to figure something out. Something crazy, something insane. I think I won't be the only one, but that's fantasy talk. That's fantasy talk. Not going 10-2.
Can we at least have what we had after that Tennessee win and we had the bye week there? Because I remember us actually being at SEC Basketball Media Day in Birmingham, and we were doing just saying there is a path to the playoff for Arkansas. Can we at least get that? Can we get out of week 5 or something 4-1 and be like, you never know, Auburn sucks. So
that would be nice.
Oh yeah, I can't see. That's what I'm most excited about for football season is those takes that I know I'm going to have and I know we're going to discuss. All it's going to take is just one win, one solid win, and we can start talking. And one solid win, and other teams in the SEC having a bad loss. It's it's all it's going to take.
A&M and Notre Dame having an ugly game where they both look beatable. That'll be it too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it'll just be perfect. Also, Noah just says, number one question for the pod, are we going to do a post game to compete with Walk and Talk? Well, we already do a post game.
Our post game crushed last year.
Yeah.
Right. We had some good stuff. And honestly, it's crazy. Our basketball and baseball post games have had higher highs than our football, even including Tennessee. The Tennessee football post game was, of course, our number one for football, but we've had basketball, we've had 5 or 6 that got higher than that. Baseball, we even had 2 or 3 that got higher than that. So I think now we can raise the bar a little bit with football. Maybe we hit 15K on a post game.
Yeah, people get it now. They know where to come. And here's the beautiful thing about it. You talk about the walk and talk, which is awesome, by the way. But I think we're the perfect world to pair with that. If you're a big walk and talk listener, because we go live the moment the game is over, and we're riffing and we're going through this for an hour. And then when we finish, Trey's had time to walk around, down W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium and get it all off his chest. And then it's we finish, and then there comes the walk and talk. You can have both in your life.
Exactly.
Listen, that Western Kentucky Walk and talk is still things of legends.
The Hall of Fame, dude.
Dude, doesn't even introduce himself. If you think I'm going to come on here, I mean, I've watched it so many times. I feel like I'd have the intro. Think I'm going to come on here and do like just off the rails immediately, and I loved it, man.
Whoever it was that recently did that compilation of Trey's, it was so good. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's
Remember,
great.
Danny used to sometimes send this quick little clip from it, and it was just Trey saying, Arkansas just got their ass kicked. It was just like, that was just that clip right there. But yeah, that little compilation was good the other day.
It was good.
All right, let me ask you guys this real quick. Our post games that we do this year with Inside Arkansas for football, is the most viewed one going to be a win or a loss?
Mm.
They lose to Memphis. That'd be it.
I was literally going to say if they, piddled around with Arkansas State,
yes,
or Memphis, those would be highly viewed and tough to handle for sure.
Let's think about this. And actually, I want to hear from the chat, even if because we have some people in the chat that think they're going 4-8, some that think they're going 10-2, some that think they're going 7-5. What do you guys think will be the biggest, the answer to this question, the most viewed post game show we do? What's going to be the big moment of the season? If you think Arkansas is going 8-4, is that big win? Is it beating A&M, winning on the road at Tennessee again, or something like that?
I mean, to me, beating Notre Dame, I think would be high up there, especially if they played against, say if they were 3-1 going into that game, say if they lost to Ole Miss, but it was close, I gave them, and you won those other three. If you beat Notre Dame, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, guys, that's a bye week, and then you go to Tennessee on the road right after that. Yeah. That would be right up there because of the historical reasons. But yeah, here's the thing. I mean, you could just say, hey, if they lose to Alabama, A&M will be most watched. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. But, realistically.
A couple A&M votes, and I think A&M is probably, if we were doing betting odds, Arkansas beating A&M is the most likely candidate for being our highest viewed one, because I think that would accomplish that.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of if it takes them to whatever it'd be 4-1, 5-2, 4-2, whatever, that would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Man. Can't wait to have all the ups and downs.
Texas would certainly be up there.
That would be a big one.
That would be the one. If Arkansas beat Arch Manning, yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, coming off the bye week, and you got an interim coach in Petrino that does it, and then that just opens up a whole floodgate.
Dude, if it was a 3-5 Arkansas team that beat Texas
on the road,
that'd be crazy.
I'm already excited, but already not wanting to do it. I know it's going to be madness. So, well, guys, any final thoughts before we close out of here for the week here in Inside Arkansas Live?
Thank you, John, for everything you did down there at SEC Media Day, man. You must have had a dozen or more, honestly, interviews that you did there. That was really cool. Want to just shout out everybody again who hopped on to the members only stream with me and Andrew. That was very cool. And I love seeing some of the testimonials in here from people that are like, man, that was awesome. Man, you guys need to join. That's usually us that has to say that. So glad that you guys are doing that. Appreciative of that. And thanks to everybody who's still rocking with the pot at the Palace. The numbers are still really, really good. And that's why I continue to do it every day in July. And I appreciate that. And we're going to have a lot from Peach Jam and elsewhere as Cal and the boys continue to identify their top targets for the